Welcome back, everybody, to more BPL Season 8 regular season coverage. My name is Bowsy, and I'm joined here by Denji on the cast as we're ready to round up the regular season here with our final weekend of matches here, Denji. Starting off here in the B League with Bluerose versus Mango Nectar.
Yeah, and it is a high-stakes match for both teams. If Blueroses take one singular map, they lock first seed. If Mango Nectar can 2-0 Blueroses, then they take first seed. So, it's a battle for the first seed out of their group right now.
Yeah, both of these teams, obviously the win criteria is set in stone here. As you take a look there at the standings again, Bluerose currently sitting pretty, 6-0, has not lost a single map in the regular season, but Mango Nectar losing that match to Flying Bugbears last week hinders their progress a little bit here, but no matter what, these two teams are confirmed the top two. So no, they are pretty much all set in stone on that. Assuming Mango Nectar are able to win a map, they should be secured for that spot. But it'll be interesting to see how they're able to play in this matchup. So it's gonna be interesting here, Denji. These teams both looking for that first seed and eyeing it with malicious intent, you could say.
Yeah, Mango Nectar coming out of first couple weeks, Mango Nectar looked to be the strongest team in B League. And then they took that loss to Flying Bugbears, which albeit I'm kind of biased towards that because Bugbears is my sister team. but just a little hiccup for them as Mango Nectar has a pretty strong roster. And I think during that match they were down one of their players too. So and Bugbears had their whole roster, so it could have been that too.
Yeah, so we'll see if they're able to recover from that loss. It is worth noting that was Bugbears' first win of the season as well. So it shows that maybe Bugbears were getting better, maybe Mango Nectar weren't up on their game. Either way, this is the match that matters. You are facing off against the undefeated Titans, however. The last time Bluerose lost a map was in the kickoff tournament, where they lost their first match to Nightwings in that kickoff tournament. Mango Nectar, meanwhile, they made it all the way to the semifinals in that before losing to the Slime City Monarchs. So there definitely is some history here. You also can take a look at the fact that Mango Nectar 2-0 Nightwings earlier in the season. So anything could happen here, Denji. We'll have to see if Mango Nectar is up for the task.
Yeah, both teams 2-0 Nightwings, which Nightwings has been pretty hard by that kickoff curse. But looking at the Mango Nectar's roster, the big thing is like they only have one tank, and it is Fish, and Fish is a pretty solid tank, so there's not really many concerns on the tank line here. And Fish, I know Fish does also like to play Ramacha in the Sigma, and Ramacha did recently receive that buff where you can do the cycle block punch it again, just not block punch. Sportline's pretty solid too. Corey or Saga have been around for a while, I think since Trank. And then there's DPS line Blinded, Kermaster, Strudel. Their DPS line is kind of like a little bit like a Flash. It's more flashy than consistent, in my opinion. Like they all have like their like team kills, multi kills, but then they kind of like dive down to like being quiet, and then they come back up into like the flashiness.
Yeah, definitely. One thing of note as well with this roster is that according to recent sources, this roster is only one of 4 teams in the entirety of this season that has no rookie players. Everyone here has competed in a previous BPL season, so you have that experience as well that could play in your favor here for your Mango Nectar. But you're up against the Titans. That is Bluerose. Again, Bluerose being run by Paracelsus, one of the most decorated staff members in all of BPL history, and with a roster like this, Foliage, Gala, Domination, and Inari on the DPS line, and then Best Beans, 80, and Why Not on support. But obviously the big question is who's going to play that tank today. Foliage and Domination both can play the tank, so they have that opportunity with the flexibility. But other than that, this is a very quirky roster. But they made it all the way here so far. They've been undefeated in the regular season, so something tells me it's working, and Paracelsus' magic is back in order here in the B League.
Yeah, Domination has been like their main tank player that I've seen play matches, and they tend to play kind of the funny stuff. Domination, like in one of the matches, I saw him play Roadhog and Reinhardt against Danu, and that ended up working. So, I mean, if you can catch the team off guard with Domination's weird hero pool, then it could work. Foliage kind of has like the more traditional off-tanky hero pool, and the Domination has like more of a main tank plus the wacky picks you're probably not ever going to see being played, so not many teams get practice against them.
Yeah, so we'll see what these two teams are willing to bring out to the table here on the maps. And speaking of the maps, let's take a look at that map pool here for this matchup. We're starting off here with Shambali Monastery before heading over to Oasis. And in the event of a 1-1 score after Oasis, Numbani will be map number 3. Then Runa Sapi, if required. If we somehow hit a draw on Numbani, then we would go to Runa Sapi for map number 4. But it's going to be interesting. These are very sort of different maps. You're dealing with a lot of poke, brawl, and dive here, Denji. So I'll have to see which teams are going to be able to make the most of these maps.
Shambali, I could see Mango Nectar kind of trying like their Sigma or Ramatra comp that they like to do. I won't be surprised if we see Bluerose may pull out a Symmetra Rhine, which they did do on King's Row in their match against Danu, which was a pretty dominant 2-0, outside of like one mishap where Domination shattered a shield and then got shattered back.
You hate to see if a Reinhardt player is there, but definitely will be interesting to see what happens there. We're currently waiting on troubles with the lobbies as well here. We're just getting everything sorted for the lobby, and then we'll be able to jump into the match here. But definitely is going to be an interesting match, all things considered. Again, for those tuning in, this is the final match for both of these teams in the regular season. If Bluerose are able to win one singular map, they lock themselves into the number 1 seed. If Mango Nectar win one map, they pretty much guarantee themselves a spot in the 2nd place seed. So both of these teams are fighting for those top 2 positions right now, so we'll see who's able to get the better of their adversary at the end of the day.
Yeah, but while they're figuring out the lobby, I don't know if we can pull up the bracket, because brackets are out now since it is final week, so pretty much outside like some seeding things, we do have the bracket. As you can see, Hidden King has a locked 3rd spot off the rip already in that round 1 upper. And then it's a little bit interesting than I think last season was a little bit different in there's so many teams that there are so many more teams in B versus the other 2 last season that it was a little bit different bracket. But 4 and 5 from each 4 and 5 from Barbarian Bard and vice versa will be in the play-ins. So if it sits right then I believe it's sits as the way it sits. I think it's Nightwings and Danu from Barbarian and Slime City and Those Who Crow from Bard.
Pretty good guess. That's exactly what they are. So for reference, these 2 teams are currently fighting for Barbarian 1 and Barbarian 2. So it's a matter of if you're going to be playing versus Hidden King or if you're going to be dodging Hidden King until the upper finals at the earliest. So there's a lot on the line. If Hidden King are currently locked into the playoffs here with a currently 3-0, 6-0 map score, a lot's on the line here if you are the side of Bluerose or Mango Nectar. You want to secure that 1st seed and want to set yourself up for success here when the bracket comes out and when playoffs begin.
Yeah, if you secure 1st seed too, you get the bye automatically. You don't have to play You don't have to play. I think you get a bye as your 1st seed. I could be wrong, but I think they have to wait out them. I think they do get a round bye because I think they wait out the winner of the play-ins match to play, if I'm correct. So whoever survives the onslaught of 4 and 5 has to immediately go in against the strongest team in B League, and one of the strongest teams in B League off the rip.
Yep.
That being said, once you get into that round 1, round 2, it is double elim, so you still have that 2nd life. If you're losing play-ins, you're done.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see what that's going to entail. But for this match in particular, we do have something we could talk about. That is the bans. Of course, each team is allowed 1 ban of 1 role for their maps. So for first map, Bluerose get the 1st ban, considering they are the team on the left. And their ban is Ramatra. So they're saying, all right, we're not playing the brawl style here on Shambali Monastery. We're going to go straight over to the Ramatra ban here and try to avoid that brawl style altogether.
This could signal that they were going to try to play Reinhardt, albeit I don't think this really is a big issue for Mango Nectar, as Fish loves to play the Battle Cattle, also known as Orisa. So if they might just... And Mango Nectar immediately taking away that Spade capability with the Lucio ban, I think mainly Bluerose's supports have favored Lucio over Mizuki, while Mango Nectar has been the complete opposite.
Yeah, I mean, Lucio ban is definitely helpful if you're trying to avoid that Reinhardt comp. You do have to be careful about the Juno, however, if you are the side of Mango Nectar. And also that Mizuki, if you do get that Major perk, which allows that healing aura to have just additional speed boost when he uses Katsusiri Return, there definitely is the potential here for the Mizuki or the Juno to really play against Mango Nectar's favor here. So we'll have to see what they're going to be able to pull out here, as it looks like we're almost ready to get into the first map of this series, the final regular season match for both of these teams. Again, it's all going to come down to which one wins a map and which one's getting that #1 seed and which one's going to be settling for #2.
Yeah, so if you're Mango Nectar, you have to like gain momentum early, because if you let Bluerose gain momentum, they don't let go of it. It's really hard to get it back. It's really hard to shift it the other direction. So if Mango Nectar can get a foothold or like full hold Shambali first, which is like one of the most common things to do in Shambali Monastery, is either you full hold the first or you get rolled through first on your defense. And the second is just kind of like up in the air depending on how the defense goes. And the third point usually is another thing where you get full held.
And we'll see what the result is going to be here as we're about to load in to that first map. Again, Shambali Monastery being the map pick. And look, it's daytime now. No more nighttime on the preview screen. As we take a look here early at the compositions, Bluerose is going to be on the defense first, and contrary to what you were saying earlier, Denji, they look like they want to run Best Beans on the Mizuki to start off here, as well as having domination on the Sigma to start.
Yeah, this makes sense. I think they're probably reading that Fish's Gunner roll on Orisa, and Sigma usually does beat Orisa initially in terms of poke exchange, but if the Orisa can get like up into the Sigma's face, then it's a completely different story, because Orisa just outlasts Sigma in the face just because of the displacement she can do with the javelin spin, the spear, the fortify. But Fish is gonna have like the issue of closing the distance as they are attacking.
We'll have to see how that distance is going to be closed here, but already so much damage going into Fish here, especially with Fushia on that Freya as well. He's going to be pumping in so much damage to start out here. Now you have Fish just trying to keep themselves alive, forced to use that fortify early here to keep themselves in the fight, but now going to be moving over to the left here alongside the rest of their team. Now moving over to the right is Bluerose to meet them. Great accretion from Domination to start off, but a beautiful wall coming out there from Strudel. Domination forced to use that kinetic grasp early, but there's so much damage thrown in. Boys and Spike disrupts the rest of the team and throws them all for a loop, and Mango Nectar doing the blunt force of that. They will get Domination on their way out, as well as why not? Hang on, this is actually winnable right now. It's only Strudel right now on the May, trying to keep alive against this Freya and Xion. It'll be a little bit difficult, boys. Preparing the bike already. Yeah, that's a world of hurt for Strudel. But at the end of the day, Mango Nectar are going to be able to push this a little bit faster, considering Bluerose are not back in the fight.
Yeah, a very scrappy fight where Big Brain of all people manages to drop 3 people in that fight, and Strudel stayed alive for as long as he did. Already has this Blizzard available. I don't think Bluerose are gonna be expecting this Mail to come out this soon.
Currently picking around the corner here, trying to find anything with the Sigma, but it's Domination finding the first pick. Blinded dying first, I believe, again. And once again, it's Foliage with that bike, just throwing it in the backline, finding a 3K to wipe the floor.
Yeah, and if you didn't read the patch notes, Freya did get recently buffed, where they decreased the downtime between shots of the take aim shots, and they decreased the delay between explosions on the bolt, so you can actually like fire bolts off and do the explosion damage a lot faster than usual, as Blinded going away from the Sojourn towards the M-Ray.
See if this M-Ray is going to work out here for Mango Nectar. Definitely provides a lot more consistent damage. Meanwhile, you got Strudel going straight to the backline, playing the flanking game, trying to chase down Foliage. Forces out the bike, forces the rest of the team to look for them as they use their Ice Blocker. Meanwhile, Blinded finds that first kill on the Fushia here to start off. And now that opens up the door for Mango Nectar. All that space made just from Strudel pushing forward on the May. Now the Consider for Big Brain trying to make more of that space. The hinder comes out from Best Beans onto the Sigma, and they force the Kikai Sanctuary as well. Mango Nectar in a good spot. Now the Blizzard's thrown the Here We Go ability able to hold them out, but the Fushia finds 3 on the Freya before the fight is cleaned up. It's going to be Bluerose just barely holding the card.
It was a good attempt to just bait the Kikai Sanctuary out of Bluerose to then open up the spot for the Blizzard, because then Domination wasn't in a position to actually eat the Blizzard. But a really beautiful Suzu from Why Not bails 3 people out, and then Foliage is able to come back in and do a lot of damage with that spree, and Fuchsia is there to finish off all the kills. They did a good job last fight of just splitting Fuchsia by just drawing all the attention back, but it's hard to do that on this final bend of Shambali since it's so enclosed.
See how Mango Nectar is going to approach that. You already see Big Brain trying to go in for it. Here comes the flush, however, from Domination and Fish. several players launch them in the air, and Sandy's going to be the first one to die. Now the Mizuki out of the fight. Domination answering back with another kill. Make that 3 for Domination, and a full team wipe yet again for Bluerose. Mango Nectar now drained of every single resource. We're going into pretty much a dry fight.
The saving grace of Mango Nectar is that Blinded is extremely close as an override protocol, and if they're doing their ult tracking right, they have to know that Best Beans is like maybe 1 to 2 fights away from Kakai Sanctuary, so the ultimate being able to shut down override is not available yet, so they have to build this override and go with it before Best Beans can get anything going. The foliage might have been caught up, but manages to get away with the bite.
You already see that they're trying to chase him down. Strudel on the Venture trying to chase down that Shion, make sure that she can't get any value here. There is the touch on the card here from Fish. Blinded, now pops the Override Protocol. The shield used here from Domination. Tries to hit them with the mid-air accretion, but just doesn't do enough here. That Override Protocol just pumping in a lot of damage, but not enough to find the kill. Meanwhile, that chase in the backline with Strudel Foliage finally comes to an end with Foliage falling. And now that Kakai Sanctuary on board here from Best Beans, keeping the rest of Bluerose online, but they have to stay outside of the area if they're going to not be shot by the enemy team. Sandy finds the kill on the Best Beans, and Bushia's bullet shot doesn't find anything here as it's just Domination on the card. They are finished out by Fish, and Mango Nectar live for another day, though, cap point A and continue the card push.
Yeah, the Kakai Sanctuary was a good attempt to try to stabilize after losing Foliage in that weird duel and also all the damage that Blinded did. But the problem is, yeah, if you're going to fight inside, you have to fight on the outside because Mango Nectar just went into the middle of it and started shooting. And the Kakai was basically on the cart, so Bluerose really didn't have a choice if they could walk out of it, because if they walked out of it, they would give cart progress.
Mango Nectar trying to make this space, trying to keep it for their own, and Bluerose start making their advance in here. Here comes the Kitsune Rush here from Big Brain to try and establish this. The creature comes out from Fish trying to hit Domination. Meanwhile, you got Strudel all the way in the back line, but just can't drill out fast enough. Foliage finishes the job here. Now throwing their own bike into the fight, separating the Spirit Kill from the rest of the team as the Flux comes out from Fish. Trying to stall out anything here. They end up getting the kill onto their adversary. Foliage, 1 health, gets killed out by Blinded as well as Mango Nectar continues to hold while not really pushing the cart that much. It's Strudel currently pushing the cart around the final corner.
Yeah, Mango Nectar, they lose Strudel really early, but Strudel just gets all the CDs out, so then Domination is completely isolated in the front line. Fish just is able to kill him and just delay the back line with the Graph Flux. But now Bluerose has a lot of ults coming in here. Here comes the Flux, Kakai Sanctuary out. Strudel manages to drop Best of Beats though, and the cart is gonna almost glide in. Domination just gets on and
not yet.
continue to go.
The Satsugeki speed already finds both supports. Quarter side of Mango Nectar. Foliage has to be the savior right now, trying to win this out. That's a 3K for Foliage, but they're all dead to the hands of Strudel. Just barely. Bluerose unable to finish that out. Mango Nectar survived by the grit of their teeth, and now we're pushing into point C.
Yeah, now Mango Nectar is starting to gain some momentum, but in Bluerose, that was an ult fight from both sides pretty much, but Bluerose dumped quite a bit of their more like impactful ultimates into that fight, but they are going to have this Kakai Sanctuary up in order to counter out Blind's override protocol, and this Bola shot has to find value from Fuchsia. He's been really good with just hitting the bolts and getting kills that way, but the Bola shots have been kind of a whiff.
Comes that Bola shot, doesn't find, oh no, it does find the kill on the Blinded. Beautiful kill there from Fuchsia to finish out that main DPS duel, and Mango Nectar take that as a sign of full course retreat. They know they have lost their most impactful damage in the fight. Strudel's gonna die on the way out to Foliage here, and that's gonna be a complete reset from Mango Nectar.
Yeah, well, Mango Nectar are building to a potential answer to that Kakai Sanctuary. You can just flux people out of the entirety of the ultimate. And maybe if you got them in the air, Blinded can just hit one of those heavy shots and just completely delete them from the game. That could be a potential answer to the Kakai Sanctuary, but then you're burning 2 ults just to get that done.
Here comes the override protocol from Blinded. Already forces out the Kakai Sanctuary here from Best Beans. We talked about it earlier, that ultimate is one of the biggest counters to the override protocol. Unable to find any final blows with it, but now here comes the Flux from Fish. Lands it on a Domination. The suit is there to keep them alive, but only for a little bit, as they end up dying to the hands of Big Brain, and now the cleanup is once again there from the side of Mango Nectar. Foliage dead to Big Brain as now the cart sails into the final point. Nobody from Bluerose is going to be able to touch here, even with the desperate switch on the Doomfist. And Mango Nectar, after almost getting full held here on Shambhala Monastery, make their way to the final point. 46 seconds left in the time.
Yeah, Mango Nectar, first point was pretty rough, but they started doing a good job of just recognizing when they needed to retreat faster. And the big thing in that final fight was, yes, Kakai Sanctuary just completely shut out the override protocol, but the entirety of Bluerose just went buggy-eyed and stared at the glowing Emery up front, completely forgot where Fish was, and Fish ends up on that side flank, completely just shuts down domination in the front line. You lose your tank at that close to that point, the fight's over, there's no way you can touch.
Yeah, definitely. As you take a look at the stats here, it's almost basically even between both of these teams here as we head into the attacking phase here for Bluerose. So we'll see how that shapes out here as we continue on Shambali Monastery. Now Mango Nectar getting the chance to defend. And it looks like they're going to go back to what they were trying to run before. Strudel on the Mei. Blinded now going over to the Emre instead of sticking to what they started with. And Fish staying on the Sigma here. Bluerose look like they're going to run exactly what they ran before. The Xion Freya with the Sigma here.
Yeah, and Xion isn't really powerful, but I think, like, defense-wise, I think she's a little bit better just because you can catch people off guard while you're just setting up in the angles where you're not going to be seen. You have to actually get to the spot where you want to go to, well, not being seen while attacking. And Xion really hasn't been used that much for attack, in my opinion, to its success, just because she kind of plays more like a Sombra than a Tracer.
We'll see how that Xion is going to work here as we start the push. Foliage and Fuchsia currently pushing the cart while Domination makes their way onto the left side, just like Fish did earlier. But meanwhile, Fish just says, no tank in front of me, I'm just going to move right in front, distract the DPS, keep Foliage and Fuchsia away, and now continues this push here from Mango Nectar. Strudel on the sidelines trying to beam down Best Beams on this Mizuki, and now has to force the wall out to keep themselves alive. But right now, a steadfast hold here from Mango Nectar as they just realize, no tank, push forward.
Yeah, and Fuchsia might get picked by Fish, and he will. But now the map is completely filled on. Bluerose kind of actually have set up an impromptu pinch angle because they have Fuchsia coming from spawn, and the rest of Mango Nectar's on the wrong side. But Domination almost on the wrong end, but the chain from Best Beans just barely manages to get him out. And Domination finds Fish, but at the cost of two of his players.
Foliage also dead here. Best Beans and Why Not die. So now Bluerose down both of their supports. Only Fuchsia left here on the Freya, and they're going to be running away to the rest of their team. But now again, just like last time, there's an opportunity here for Bluerose. They're going to be able to have their Sigma back before Fish gets back in the fight. The question is, what do Mango Nectar do in response? They have this Blizzard online from Strudel. Strudel's currently on the corner, waiting for the wall to be able to find someone out. They do force out the cooldown from Foliage here. Now the question is, when do they use this Blizzard? Here comes Fish back in the fight. Blizzard comes out. Domination's the only one caught, but that's the most important target. The tank is gone, and a beautiful steal from Fish to keep that Sigma away from the support. Giving Mango Nectar continuing this hold. 2 minutes down, 2 to go.
Yeah, the last Blizzard got completely stifled by Suzu, and I think it could have been from Bluerose's, but Fish's shield is positioned perfectly to the point where it cuts the healing, and there's really no way for Why Not to get a Suzu around that shield, so then Domination goes down. Another good fight from Mango Nectar, but Bluerose are starting to build up some of these ultimates, so it's going to be all fight here.
Already so much damage pumped into Strudel, so much in fact that they end up falling here first. Considering comes out here from Big Brain, as does the Flux here from Fish. Bola shot from Fuchsia, but so much damage into the backline, and Sandy's dead as a result. But it's still Fish is trying to hold steadfast, but not for long. It's going to be Mango Nectar finally resetting, and now Bluerose pushing this cart past the first corner after 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, Mango Nectar invests a Flux and Kitsune Rush and lose that fight. Bluerose only invests that Bola shot, and because of how fast Freya builds it, Fuchsia already halfway to another one. Bluerose sitting on about 4 ultimate, up to almost coming up on 4 ultimates here. Mango Nectar, they have a couple to work with, but again, Blind is just going to be shut down by the Kekai Sanctuary.
Kekai Sanctuary is going to be big here from Best Beans. We'll see if they're able to. We'll see when they decide to use it. Already an early Suzu coming out from Big Brain though. Domination stuck on the wrong side of that wall. A beautiful freeze coming out here. The Kekai Sanctuary is used before the Override comes out. But as I say that, Override Protocol from Blinded is out. And they get shut down by Domination's aggression. Foliage now enters back with the Satsuriki free. Finds Sandy. Big Brain out of the picture. Now all that's left is Fish and Strudel. Both just trying to stall this card out for a little bit longer, but they're both going to die to the hands of Domination. And just like last time, Bluerose pushing the cart into point A with less than a minute on the clock.
Yeah, and now Mango Nectar have no ultimates, except for maybe this Blizzard from Strudel, which did get pretty good value last time, but they're facing down the Kitsune Rush from Why Not, with really no answer outside the Blizzard. Except, if you do get this Blizzard up, you could just throw the Blizzard on top of the Kitsune Rush to completely deny Bluerose from using it. As Best of Beans almost overextends and almost gets picked at the beginning.
Plenty an early fight here. Fusha trying to make that sort of pick work. Has the bowler shot online again. We've seen how good these bowler shots can be here from the side of Fusha here. We'll see if they're able to make it work yet again. Already shooting so much shots. This is the impact of that Freya buff, by the way. Just being able to constantly take aim every single second. Fish is down. Blizzard activated.
Oh my god.
Strudel here, and it's a pretty big Blizzard to get rid of Domination and Fusha. There's no Fusha there to keep both of them alive. But Foliage answers back. 2 kills from the Xion. Now throwing out the bike, trying to find a third onto this May. But Strudel's still alive. Sandy's gonna die, however, to Why Not? So now it's only Strudel here on the card, and they're gonna die to the hands of Best Beans.
Yeah, I think it's just it's going to be like about a 3v3 coming back here, as you got blinded Break Brain and Fish hanging around at the beginning of the choke, but Bluerose have, I think they're Mizuki, Xion, and Freya still alive. But the big thing is Fish can maybe stabilize the card a little bit, as he is here faster than Domination just slightly.
Here comes the continuous for Big Brain, open up the fight. The accretion misses here from Fish, and now he's in a world of hurt alongside. What a beautiful accretion block from Sandy to keep them alive. Here comes Foliage with the Satsuriki speed right in the back line as the punch forces out the Kai Sanctuary from Best Beans. All flying left, right, and center. Another Kai Sanctuary, this time from Sandy, but it doesn't save Strudel in time.
Oh, wait.
Domination, however, is dead with the basically team kill there. 5 kill, 5 assists there in the bank of Blind to get that kill. And now Fish pushing forward, no tank oppression to keep them stopped as they did that accretion on the Fusha, but the message has been sent. Extend the team back, and Blind is shooting that pistol, trying to finish off anybody there.
Yeah, both teams exchange sanctuaries, but the big thing is Domination just overextends into Sandy's and gets picked for it. Meanwhile, Fish is still alive. Here, the bullet shot. Here comes the bullet shot. It completely misses, and now 60 seconds remain on the clock. Remember, remember, Mango Nectar have to 2-0 to take first seed here, but Bluerose, if they take one map, it's all if they take first.
Domination continues with more. The Flux doesn't do enough damage, however. Fusha is dead, but Blinded is traded. Now it's only the Xion versus the Mei in terms of the DPS. Already Fish pushing so far forward, trying to find any sort of kills here with 30 seconds left on the clock. Bluerose need answers right now, but they don't really have any in the bank. Best Beans going for the aggressive play. Doesn't find anything with it as Foliage now shoots the bike right into Strudel, forces out that ice block here. And the Blizzard's coming online as well here, Denji. This could be dangerous for Bluerose if they don't get a kill now.
They need to get a kill, or they need to get this Kikai Sanctuary up there. At least they're trying to buy some time, but Big Brain pushes the agenda with the Kitsune rushes, forcing Bluerose back, and Domination gets cut on the round end. Sanctuary comes out from Best Beans, but it's just a desperation plea to try to stay alive.
Blizzard comes out here from Strudel, and now the feed is already in the kill feed. Foliage unable to stall it out, and the wall keeps pulling Fusha away from the point. Mango Nectar take the first map in this series. And now we have match point for Mango Nectar, who are looking to upset the undefeated Giants in this regular season.
Yeah, and Bluerose, like I believe at the beginning you said they hadn't lost a map or match since kickoff. Well, this is the first map they will lose at the hands of Mango Nectar. As second point, first point, their comp is pretty good because of how wide open there's a lot of flank angles. But the big thing on second point, when it got to that bend where they kind of got stuck, there's a lane on the outside coast you can flank through and try to get an angle behind. Foliage and Fusha never tried to flank the coast lane. If you manage to maybe set up a pinch like with two going with like the core staying cart and like maybe the Mizuki or the Kiri flanking with one of the DPS, maybe that's different. But trying to 5-man force it into a Mei Sig is never gonna work.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, I mean, definitely. It was a good attempt, especially with that Xion. We saw the Xion work there on the defense, but on the attack, just not enough. And the Freya would, how much damage they were able to pump out there. In fact, having what I believe was the most damage on the, actually, no, that was Domination. Not the most damage on the team, so that shows.
14.5k, yeah.
The Xion had 14.7, Domination had 15k, so not the most damage on the team, but more than, like, the second most damage of all DPS heroes in the lobby, but still, it didn't seem to be enough there for the side of Bluerose. But the good news is, that's your first escort map loss of the season, and now you head over to a map that you have won on historically before, that is Control. So we'll see if Bluerose are able to bring this back. So it's going to be interesting to see how Bluerose are able to respond here after that map loss.
Yeah, especially since now Bluerose started with the first ban, and they maintained the first ban because of that map loss, but if Bluerose loses this game, it's gonna. I think like they probably would have been able to break second if they just played their comp strength is taking angles. Mango Nectar's comp strength was like getting a great wall off and more like anchoring the cart. Bluerose were playing into what Mango Nectar wanted them to do. They never tried to take an angle. They never tried to set up there's like that coastline angle on the backside that you can go through to try to get a pinch on the backside of the defenders where they were standing, or you can go through the window as the Freya and try to get a pinch there. It's a little more risky, but you can still try to draw attention. The fact that Bluerose never tried to do that just kind of tells me that they just either got lost or something just was not going right in fight plans. Because at some point you gotta try something different. You're not gonna break through a brick wall by bashing your head into it so many times and losing.
The definition of insanity is trying the exact same thing and expecting different results. And unfortunately for Bluerose, that seemed to be what happened there in that situation. We did see some of those attempts, especially toward that last fight. We did see the Xion of foliage on the Xion try to go through the little window there in the cave to try and make a backwards attempt, but it didn't really work out as they were hoping for. So we'll have to see what the move is going to be here from Bluerose to be able to push themselves forward in this matchup here. But it's definitely going to be interesting. It's definitely a situation where they could end up winning this match if they do pull off the reverse sweep. If not, they're going to have to settle with that second seed. But the question lies with what happens on the next map, which is Oasis. Oasis, second map in the series. First time both of these teams are playing on this map, but it is worth noting that these teams have played on Control earlier in the season. Both of them have been basically undefeated on Control all season. So it'll be interesting to see how this map plays out to both of these favors.
Yeah, Oasis is like you can play different. You can play dive. You can play brawl. Poke is like a little risky, but Sigma is like basically a poke brawl kind of hybrid tank. So I could see that happening. Could see dive. Yeah, here's the match. If Mango Nectar wins Oasis, they will take one seed away from Bluerose. So Bluerose has to win Oasis, and then they have to win out Numbani if they actually want a chance here, because they have to take a map, I believe, because if they take Oasis, then they lock first, and even if Mango Nectar wins, I think, or hold on.
If Bluerose win the map, then they will win map diff over the
Okay.
Yeah, because Mango Nectar would be 3-1. Bluerose would be 3-1, but would have one map loss compared to the 3 or 4 in the 3 in this case. Oh yeah, 3.
So everything on the line for both these teams here.
Yeah, and this map could determine everything of how these two teams are going to approach the playoffs. So there's a lot on the line here.
It's not a par or without a bump in the road, as you would know, because we remember Spooky still owns your cat, Para, as Bowsy and I both know, because we are part of the team that took the cat.
Yeah, so I mean there is that history with Para's team, so we'll see how this team is able to, if this team is going to be that sort of difference maker in all of it. But as we head over to the ban screen here, it is worth noting that Bluerose cannot ban the Ramatra again here, which might not play in their favor, especially because we're heading over to Oasis. Historically does have some brawl maps. We could very well see that Ramatra come out here for the side of Mango Nectar, so you kind of lose a key linchpin there if you are Bluerose. So we'll see what their ban pick is going to be here. Any sort of ideas you may think of here, Denji? Do you know any sort of DPS tank or support that Bluerose would want to get rid of here?
Potentially the Mei. That was like the thing that was giving Domination a hell of a time in the front line. Mei isn't as strong as Oasis, but like there's plenty of times where it's just PTSD induced bans. But we do have the ban from Bluerose, and it will be, they are electing to ban out, I believe, hold on, let me check here. They're banning Emre.
Interesting.
Interesting considering that most of Blinded's ultimates just got shut up by the Kakai Sanctuary. However, the ultimate for an ultimate, and the fact that Override Protocol lasts, I think, a second longer than Kakai Sanctuary, means you can just weave in that one last heavy shot and drop a couple people low to let the rest of your team follow up. Or maybe force a Suzu, which I think that kept happening, where yes, Blinded's ultimate got shut off for the most of the duration, but the final shot usually forced some type of response from the side of Bluerose.
It definitely is possible, considering also the fact that you remove that sort of hit scan pressure. Because I believe when we saw Mango Nectar come out, they're originally on the Sojourn and then switched to the Emre in response to the Freya here. So definitely interesting as Mango Nectar. I don't know if this is a target.
This is a target. No, it's a target ban domination.
Okay, fair enough. While the Roadhog is not going to be played here on Oasis, so thank goodness Ilios isn't in the map pool, or else Mango Nectar would be screwed. But Roadhog out of the table here. Mango Nectar banned the Hog, so Domination cannot pull out that Roadhog here on Oasis. Definitely an interesting ban. I think that says a lot about how Mango Nectar are confident that they can win this map, though. So they've already locked up the number 2 seed at least, so they could probably win. They're saying, all right, we don't need a strategic ban. We're just going to ban the Roadhog, and now you're not allowed to play your funny hero. We're instead just going to make you play normal, and we're still going to beat you either way. So
yeah,
it's going to be
we do have a
interesting.
couple subs.
We do, of course, yeah. BPL rules requirement requires players to be playing here for this for every single map. It's going to be a Nari coming in here for Foliage on the DPS line for Bluerose. Meanwhile, on the side of Mango Nectar, Kernmaster is coming in here for, I believe that is Strudel they're going to be coming in for. So, Kernmaster coming in for Strudel, Inari coming in for Foliage, and then I believe Saga's also going to be coming in to the support role as well.
Yeah, I think potentially maybe the Lucio. Now looking back on the Lucio ban, maybe had been a thing where they wanted to play the Mizuki out with Sandy, because it might have been Sandy's better Mizuki than Saga, and then opening the Lucio back up, preventing a potential target ban at him, because Saga I think favors the Lucio more than the Mizuki, so that kind of makes more sense seeing the sub come in for Saga in for Sandy. We'll see what make Bluerose do here. They play the Roadhog usually is like a wild card pick for domination, where if all else fails, play Roadhog, because nobody knows how to play against that hero, because they just all get mind controlled into shooting the pig.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, the main thing is you want to shoot the tank, try to burn down the tank faster, and you don't really consider that the supports could be on the other side of the tank, helping keep that tank alive here. So we'll see what happens. We head over to Oasis. As a reminder, currently Mango Nectar in match point territory. If they win this map, they lock up the number 1 seed for their group. If Bluerose win, they lock up the number 1 seed for their group, no matter what the result is of map number 3. As we take a look here at the early compositions here, Denji, it looks like we're going to be starting here on University. And we already see Domination is locking the Hammerman.
Yeah, with the comp around, it makes no sense. I'm just gonna put that out there right now.
Not yet. We could be seeing some little mess arounds, but we could very well see this Wuyong Kiri here from Domination, or from Bluerose.
It's not the worst thing, because the Wuyong can flank with the Genji and kind of create a pinch angle. Mango Nectar, Saga went Mercy there for a second, and I was about to throw my mouse across my room. But Mango Nectar rolling fish on the Orisa, they probably are expecting Domination to roll the Reinhardt here, so already kind of like a little bit of counter-confidence play. But Domination's going to have a bit of a rough time here, because there's nobody to speed him around.
Just because you don't have speed doesn't mean that you can't enable the Reinhardt here, but we'll see how Bluerose are going to be able to meet it. That's how. They're just going to find the first pick on the Blinded here. Why not? Literally, finding that first kill on the Blinded, forces out the DPS, forces Mango Nectar to full-scale retreat, and it's going to be Domination taking all this space.
Yeah, I think they're playing the Domination, just be the funny rectangle man, shield for Inari, and why not to let in the poke here. Shield is kind of taking a beating, does drop to half. But Fish may have overstepped, and I think he already has to use his Fortify just to get the heck out of there.
Mango Nectar trying to continue pushing forward. Fish using that Javelin spin to keep himself in here, but the rest of Mango Nectar are right behind the barricade here. Now you see Fuchsia trying to go on that backline here with the Genji. They find the kill on the Kernmaster. The perfect deflect doing so much damage, but Blinded gets their revenge on Why Not here. Now it's basically a back and forth affair. Only 2 supports on the field. Saga on the Lucio and Beans on the Wuyong. Fish, I believe, was in the enemy backline, killing out Fuchsia on that Genji.
Yeah, so now Domination decides to take the mirror on the horse, which Bluerose do have a lot more poke pressure to put onto Fish versus what Mango Nectar has. Mango Nectar is a lot more about just speeding and causing a brawl with the Lucio, so Fish is going to have to play corners and natural cover and pay his cooldowns out really well, so you can't afford yourself to lose a Javelin spin or to fortify early, but Kernmaster will find out Fuchsia early.
Very good flank there from Kernmaster, using that small health pack room to be able to find that first kill. And now Fish, once again, just charging forward, using that Fortify very early, and finding another Javelin into Inari. One at the start of the fight, one at the end of the fight. Fish just nailing the Javelin, finding the success so far here for Mango Nectar.
And Fish, this is one of the Fish's, this is his bread and butter here. He loves to play the Orisa. He loved playing it last season on School of Rush, but now a lot of ultimates are coming up, but Fish just manages to find Inari out of thin air again!
Fish has Inari's number right now. The Terra Surge coming in as well, finishing it out. This ain't a fish out of water, this is a fish out of mayhem.
And Mango Nectar only used that Terra Surge just to finalize that. And now, because how dominant Mango Nectar has been, they have 4 ultimates in this potentially final fight territory. That being Bluerose will have 4 as well, so it's gonna be which team can get more value from their Q-buttons. But Domination already just dropped super low by another javelin from Fish.
Domination dropping low, forced out the continue rush here earlier here from Why Not. Curvemaster going to be pushing forward. Fuchsia there on the point, but here comes the saturation free. Gets stunned out, but is able to keep going with it until they fall to the hands of Domination. And now the kills all going in favor of Bluerose here. That's Wave Blast being able to make everything work here for the side of Bluerose. They clean up the fight and are going to be taking this point, but at 98% for Mango Nectar.
Yeah, Mango Nectar kind of gamble with that sound barrier engage because they have to know that Fuchsia is close or has this blade. So now they don't have a defense against it besides just killing him. So, and now it's just going to be Fish, like they hit a Miracle Javelin or something onto this Genji. But if anything, maybe you should go for a dry fight here. But here comes the Kitsune Rush, but instantly met by Terra Surge into the blade.
Their blade comes out here from Fuchsia. The Terra Surge blade works perfectly here to find 2 kills. They will die to the hands of Fish, so the Miracle Play technically happened only half to an extent, as the rest of Fish's team is already dead.
Yeah, I mean, if your Mango Nectar is not the worst case scenario, because you forced Blade and Terra Surge with just 1 ultimate, and now you have your Terra Surge and Deadeye coming online here, as Bluerose only have this overclock to work with. So Mango Nectar are in a position to maybe just win this fight, but Fish already just goes super low, and the Terra Surge into the Deadeye just gets 2!
Beautiful play there from Fish and Blinded, even though Fish almost died as a result of that. Now Blinded just finishing out the competition, making 3 in this fight for Blinded. The point's gonna flip back over. Overtime will begin to burn, but the damage is already done. There's no one there for the side of Bluerose to take that point back. And for Mango Nectar, 1 point away from securing the number 1 seed from the undefeated Giants.
Yeah, Mango Nectar did a pretty good job outside of the 1 fight of just cycling their ultimates, making it really hard for Bluerose to get in. And when Bluerose did get in, they had to use so many ultimates, and then the next fight they won, they dumped 2 for 1, which if you're Mango Nectar, you'd take. It could have been bad if Fish died before his Terra Surge, but he barely gets it off and allows Blinded to pick off 3 people, securing that fight. But right now, I don't think Fish has died. If I saw that correctly, I think Fish has not died.
Yeah, definitely. I was also looking for Bluerose here because the Genji of Fuchsia currently is getting out-damaged by Best Beans on the Wuyong. So right now it looks like they want to stick to that, but we'll see if that changes here as we head into point number 2, Oasis Gardens. And it's going to be Mango Nectar taking the hookah, going right up to the high ground here as Bluerose going to be trying to match them, but it's going to be Mango Nectar there first. What a javelin there from Domination, knocking Fish back immediately here, but still, the high ground in Mango Nectar's control. They now have this push potential. They're going to be making their way over to the right side and trying to stop Bluerose from pushing up. There's already so much damage here from Best Beans. That Wuyong coming into the settlement here. Blinded, almost finding that first kill here onto Inari. That would have been devastating here for the damage numbers. But Bluerose so far just sitting on this high ground, or sitting on the low ground. Mango Nectar on the high ground. Now they drop down to try and take the objective. And Fish finds the javelin kill onto Inari. Knocks them right off into the water. Bruce is going to answer back with a kill on the Blinder. So now it's the Xion versus the Genji. Domination trying to hold, but it's going to be rushed down by Fish and the rest of Mango Nectar. But once again, it's a trade. Fuchsia's Genji finally starting to show up. Make that 3 for Fuchsia's Genji here on this point. They'll finally get killed out here by Fish, who uses that javelin in perfect succession here. Now Fish trying to keep themselves alive, but Saga dies to Inari, and now it's going to be Bluerose capping the point first.
Yeah, Inari does go down from the silver bullet from Blind at the very end, but Fuchsia comes online, manages to kill Bolt, but just to kill the undoubtedly sealed pick in that fight was Big Brain. Killing Big Brain means Fish only has Saga to help him. Saga kind of overextends trying to go for a kill, but Mango Nectar, because they stayed alive a little bit longer, they do have quite a few ultimates coming online. That being said, Bluerose almost have the title blade online if they want to use that.
Here comes the title blast onto the Genji, I believe. Like you mentioned, they dashed in, now use the blade to try and finish out the kills, and they're able to find both the force with the help of Inari. And now Mango Nectar in a world of her domination, lighting up the kill feed alongside the rest of their team. It's going to be a cleanup here from Bluerose and get the team kill.
I still think that Mango Nectar are okay with that, because again, Bluerose used 2 ultimates, but this time Mango Nectar say, okay, fine, use your ultimates, we won't use any, and we'll have 4 coming into this fight, i.e. both support ultimates online for Mango Nectar here.
Beware and when this continue rush gets used. Considering from Why Not is going to come out first, and Blind is already dead. So once again, another situation where Bluerose used the ultimate, Mango Nectar used absolutely nothing, and are just going to get a clean, dry fight out of it. Now they have a chance to engage once again with those 4 ultimates.
They are kind of running on the edge of the blade here, because now they're almost in Final Fight territory. Domination and are still have ultimates online. Mango Nectar have to get value out of the sound barrier and Kitsune Rush, or else they have held on to them basically for nothing here. But if they lose somebody first, like Blinded has been first picked a couple times, and then you can't let that happen. Curvemaster goes down for a nice shot from Inari.
Only good thing is that Curvemaster is the only one who doesn't have the ultimate online. Blind is now getting the Deadeye here as the team starts pushing forward. Now still only a 4v5. Curvemaster currently running back, and here comes the overclock here from Inari, but it's not enough to stay blinded. Your Cassidy now out of the fight. Curvemaster back. Here comes the Terror Surge coming out from Domination. Fish answers back with his own. Unable to finish the kills. Now Big Brain gets them, but Saga finds 2 with the final blow. Boom. Now it's only Curvemaster on the point, but they end up getting killed out here by Best Beans. Blinded trying to run back on the Tracer, but it's not going to be there fast enough. Bluerose answer back in kind, 100-0 here on the Gardens, bringing us to a decisive map on City Center.
Yeah, and Bluerose, I think Mango Nectar had a pretty good idea of what they wanted to do. Like, they wanted just to kind of force ultimates out of Bluerose fight after fight. But there comes up to a point where that just isn't going to work, because then you're going to be in a high-pressure situation where you need to get to the point, and I think that just that high pressure situation caught up to them as they realized they have all these ultimates, they haven't used them. It's Final Fight territory. They need to get value, and they don't get value from any of the ultimates that they had built up.
Can we point out as well, looking at this chart, that Best Beans is currently out damaging everyone on the side of Bluerose and has only died once this match.
It's just Wu Yang.
Yeah,
It's just Wu Yang.
That's impressive Wu Yang stats coming out here from Bluerose. Mango Nectar probably have to be keeping that in mind here as we head over to City Center. Mango Nectar are going to be opting to take the street side, while Bluerose might be able to get that high ground. Fish also choosing the shield perk. Interesting choice considering how Best Beans can burn that shield down in a second here. Meanwhile, Bluerose found themselves onto the high ground here. Blinded trying to flash away that gun, trying to find anything here, but he's just going to be finding nothing right now. Looking for the silver bullet target, obviously, but isn't even able to hit the shot there. It's going to be Mango Nectar. Either way on the point first. Fish currently capping the objective here. Foos is trying to defend, but now here comes Domination with a beautiful javelin spin right to the backline, but doesn't hit the javelin onto Blind. A beautiful Suzu there from Big Brain to keep that Cassidy alive. Now Fish very low. Fuchsia is going to die, but Blind is going to be traded yet again here. Mango Nectar need to try and find a kill fast here if they want to try to take this point for their own, while Best Beans currently sitting uncontested on the high ground. Something has to be done about that Wu Yang just causing havoc right now for the side of Mango Nectar. Still, no kills exchanged on either side. The 5th man is back for both teams here as Mango Nectar still looking for anything right now. Eventually, they're going to try to have to force Bluerose off the suggestion until everything is coming out.
Yeah, this might be a point where somebody gets the ultimate, that there's the blow, the kill that they needed as Fuchsia manages to find Fish. Kitsune was invested down
Kitsune? 2! They exist the Kitsune. Saga gets the kill on a Domination. It's only Big Brain right now on the objective. Saga's there as well. The support line for Mango Nectar is just trying to stall this out. Maybe they thought they could try to try to bait one of the ultimates out, but now they're still just stalling it out. Eventually they're gonna have to step up the objective, and Bluerose are gonna be able to get this point.
Yeah, now Fish goes over to the Zarya, which is a sign that you have beaten this guy mentally in the horse duel if you're forcing him off of his comfort onto the Zarya. And now Mango Nectar, because they invested that Kitsune rush, here comes a Wu Yang ult out, and here comes the rush, and Mango Nectar don't even have that much to respond to this.
Both support ults from Bluerose. It's going to be Blinded, dying first again, but Mango Nectar answer back, finding 3. Both supports and Inari are now dead, out of the fight. Bluerose just trying to keep themselves alive here. They use the Terror Surge from Domination, most likely singling a swap, and now it's just Fuchsia dying to the hands of Fish.
Yeah, and that's kind of worst case scenario here, Bluerose. You invest both of your support ultimates and lose the fight. And now Domination and Best Beans both making swaps. Okay, here comes the Reinhardt swap from Domination. Best Beans over towards Mizuki.
This is an interesting swap. We've seen Best Beans do so well on that Wu Yang, and we saw the Wu Yang Reinhardt earlier, so obviously they just want to commit to the Mizuki instead. He's going to go over to this high ground. Has this overclock online. This could be the difference maker. But meanwhile, Mango Nectar say, I don't want to have your main slot business. We're just going to eliminate Fuchsia in the back line. but now the high ground is in favor of Bluerose. So now they have a 45 with the high ground advantage. Reinhardt of Domination stepping onto the point. Here comes that overclock as well from Inari. He's trying to finish up the target, but is unable to find anything. Now 12 health in the name. Has to run away, but the Satsuritsi free from Kernmaster just cleans them up. And it's once again Kernmaster popping up 3 kills for the Xion of Kern.
Yeah, Bluerose, they do a pretty good job of just rotating all the way to the high ground where you want your Silzern to be. But like you said, Mango Nectar just noticed that Fuchsia's completely isolated on someone and get that kill, which means he doesn't have the blade for the fight. Now, Mango Nectar have a grab, they have the Kitsune. If anything, Fish could just play on top of his team, and the instant that Fuchsia pulls his blade and tries to dash in, he gets grabbed. But the grab from Fish just finds 5!
What a beautiful grab from Fish. Jumped right over the Reinhardt. I believe he used the Perth to be able to do that. The Perth jump up, being able to boost you up farther, but the damage is done, and Blinded finds 2 with the Pulse Bomb, shutting out the fight.
And now you're in Final Fight territory, and Mango Nectar, that fight basically almost allows Saga to get super close to the sound barriers to try to answer out Fuchsia's blade, and you have this Kitsune still online. That being said, you did lose Fish, so you are you have to taxi him back here, so which is going to allow Bluerose just to get a touch finally here.
95%. Mango Nectar looking to finish this out. Here comes the charge from Domination, forcing Fish off the objective. I believe the Mizuki binding chain is well being used there.
Oh no!
Dead! The blade's out of the picture. Big Brain finds the crucial kill. Now the Consider Rush comes out from Big Brain. Bluerose is trying to stall it out, hoping the Genji can come back in time. Overtime Wick starts to burn. Mango Nectar trying to finish out the kills. They find Best Speed. The main support's dead. Now it's only the Kiriko. Why not? It's a beat from Saga to keep everybody else alive. Domination trying everything it can to finish it out, but it's going to be all for naught. The first seed denied from Bluerose as Mango Nectar pull off the 2-0 sweep.
It was looking really rough for Mango Nectar at one point. Fish is forced to swap over to the Zarya to try to find an answer, and it pays dividends. The fight that just seals it is they know Fuchsia has the blade, so they keep just going before. So what Mango Nectar do beautifully is they just don't allow Bluerose to set up for Fuchsia's blade. Time and time again, Fuchsia gets found out early, or Bluerose are caught in a graph, or getting pulse bomb stuck, or something else is going on, not allowing Fuchsia to ever get that Dragon Blade off, where they know Sokka doesn't have the sound barrier online, but Fuchsia never able to get that in a position to actually find value from that Dragon Blade.
Yeah, that Dragon Blade was the crucial tool that Bluerose needed, and Big Brain was probably the biggest brain pick of them all, finding that first pick, denying the only ultimate that the team had at their disposal. Just an unfortunate circumstance, but what a performance from Mango Nectar. Again, this team just lost last week to the Flying Bugbears, and they come out today, make a statement, and say, we are going to the #1 seed, and you can't stop us, with a clean performance against the former #1 seed in their group. Just an absolutely amazing performance from Mango Nectar, and now we have our spots in place. Bluerose going to be that #2 seed in the Barbarian group, which means they are in the same side of the bracket as Hidden King. While Mango Nectar, they get to sit pretty. They get the #1 seed, and now they are waiting for their opponents, which they will find in the Bard #4 and Barbarian #5 seeds.
Yep, and so now that we have the playoff picture, kind of the first seed out of Barbarian group and the first seed out of Bard group, I believe there is still like a little bit of contention for second seed out of Bard. I think it's actually between Flying Blowhard and Hongsa, but I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head.
I believe that is correct. It is between Hongsa and Flying Blowhar. Slime City Monarchs could also technically be in contention for that spot as well. Currently, if we take a look here at the standings, if we're able to take a look at the standings for Barbarian and Bard group, you can see Hidden King currently has the top, but then Hongsa's 2-2 with -2 map differential. Flying Bolhar is 1-2 with -1 map differential. And Slime City Monarchs is 1-2 with -1 map differential. So anything could happen here in this final week of play. And considering the fact that Hongsa currently plays Slime City Monarchs next, you do the math there, Denji.
Yeah, Hongsa plays Slime City Monarchs next, and then Flying Blahar have to take on Hidden King. Which, if they manage to beat Hidden King, that would be a miracle. So I think it's probably between Slime City and Hongsa for the most part, because I think Flying Blahar are probably gonna be dropping down to the 4 seed, and then it'll be between Hongsa and Slime City. But I think Hongsa probably should take it off of Slime City has had it rough. Like they.
Oh, hold on. Yep, actually no, I got that wrong. I think it's Slime City Monarchs versus Those Who Crow, and then Flying Blahar versus Hidden King. So, still up in the table here for Slime City Monarchs. If they're able to win that match against Those Who Crow, they could qualify for number 2 seed. In fact, Those Who Crow technically could be number 2 seed because they're 1 and 2 with -2 map differential. So, if they win that match, we could have Those Who Crow moving from number 5 to number 2 seed. This Bard group is a mess.
There's always like one pool that's a mess and one pool that's kind of more straightforward. Like Barbarian group, pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward top 3: Mango, Nectar, Bluerose, Flying Bugbears. I don't know if Flying Bugbears have 3 locked. I think they actually have to face Danu, so I think that puts that into contention where Flying Bugbears and Danu I think are tied for 3rd right now. So whoever wins that one will take 3rd, and Danu, whoever loses it will drop to 4th.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of interesting developments here in the B League as we wrap up the regular season this weekend here. But definitely a lot of interesting scenarios to play off of here. But one scenario already set in stone: Mango Nectar, the number 1 seed here in this B group. Bluerose, unfortunately, having to fall down. They lose the map. They now go over to the number 2 seed. Still a pretty good feat, but you really would have wanted that undefeated season if you were Paracelsus and Bluerose.
Yeah, I think with that loss, none of Para's teams will be undefeated because Free Fall lost to Pachisuba, your team, in week 2, I believe. Amatori took the loss to Snowdrop of all teams in last week, and and now we have Bluerose taking a loss to Mango Nectar. So Para usually is really good when it comes to org building and team building. This is just a bump in the road. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, as each of his teams only have 1 loss now.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams are able to go about. Of course, this is the last weekend of the regular season, but this is not the last match of the regular season. Take a look real quick at our schedule here as we're about to wrap up the rest of the season. Again, you mentioned, of course, later today, Snowdrop are going to be playing against Phantom Verdict at 10 p.m. later today. So you got about 2 hours if you want to try to grab some quick dinner, maybe try to relax a little bit, get yourself pumped out for that matchup. As well as there's another matchup at 10 p.m.
Your match.
Potentially on the B stream if we're able to show that. Come on, my amazing producer, Knock. Do you have any visual of that or no?
We can just say it. I mean, you can.
Yeah, there is another match on the C League. It's Pachisuba versus Chosen. We'll have to see if we'll let you all know if we're going to be having a B stream.
I think there's stakes for that one too, because I believe the winner of that one takes 2nd seed.
I believe so, but we'll figure that out. There's another match as well. Raw versus Eternal X. I believe, is that the match for today, or is that happening tomorrow? I
think that's happening tomorrow. Let me check.
I think that was a different match.
That's happening Sunday.
Yeah, so, it happens, you know. Our producers try everything they can to get everything set. But there you go. There's the other match happening. 10 p.m. Chosen versus Pachisuba. Not guaranteed to be on the stream, but obviously if it happens, then we will let you all know. And then there's plenty of matches happening the rest of the weekend to close out the regular season here.
Yeah, we got a ton of matches. I believe most of them are happening Sunday. Yeah, I believe there's only I think 1 happening tomorrow. Hold on. Yeah, there's only 1 match tomorrow, and there's 2 matches tomorrow. I lied. I keep blanking because I keep thinking 9 is 8. There's 3 matches tomorrow: 2 A League and 1 B League, and then
Odin versus Amatori and Black Crown versus Zyril are happening tomorrow. In addition to Hidden King versus Flying Blowhard. So who knows? We'll see if Flying Blowhard are able to knock off the undefeated team in the other league, and then we have no undefeated teams in all of B League.
And then there's only 1 undefeated team across, I think, all the leagues. Actually, never mind. Odin's undefeated still. So if Odin loses, then there's no more undefeated. If Odin or Black Crown loses, then A League's no longer undefeated teams. Hidden King loses, B League's no undefeated teams. And if Yatagarasu loses, C League has no undefeated teams.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens as the rest of the week goes on, but that's not here or there. For now, though, that is going to do it for us here on the cast. For my wonderful caster, Denji, as well as our amazing production team involving Knock on Wood on the production, Solomon, Kofar, Mark Orange, and Person on the broadcast as well, helping bring everyone out here. My name has been Bowsy, and until we meet again, we hope you all have an amazing night. We hope to see you later tonight for more BPL action, and the rest of the weekend for more BPL Season 8 regular season action.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. My name is Biscuit. I'm pretty sure you might be familiar with how much we've been around. And to my right, PNG form for both of us is Mara, joining me on cast. Hello, Mara. How are you doing?
Hi, it's been quite a while since I've casted for BPL, and I was like, oh, there's a little time I could do that. So here I am. It's also a really interesting match. It has some very important, uh, excuse me, some very important implications on the playoff bracket for playoff group or group A, I believe. Oh yeah, it is
Yeah.
group A. I'm sorry, I don't
You
know
wouldn't
the
be
groups.
you wouldn't be wrong.
And whichever team wins here gets the bye. The other team has to play in the play-ins, is my understanding.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
So not quite not quite like a end of the world type scenario if they lose, but still like you're still risking losing going into the actual bracket, right? And yes, your team might be good, especially if you're like in a position to even get a bye in the first place, but still we do not want to risk it. We might be able to show rosters. We do have to speed through this a tiny little bit since I had a little bit of delays. I'm sorry about that to the players, but some very strong rosters here, Mara. Particularly on the side of like Snowdrop, I'm very impressed to see like LCS, Turget, Osiren, Star Potato, for example, on the same team. Some familiarity I have with Star Potato, for example, as a Flex DPS player, and Turget, pretty renowned community-wise hit scan player who tends to perform pretty well in all of the games they're in.
Yeah, both of these are pretty strong rosters. I'm not familiar with a lot of the players on Phantom Verdict, to be completely honest. But I love Jun. He's my guy. Love that guy. But I think I've heard of a couple of these players, and I know Damien Dapp and Angelo Gusa, but I've not been watching a whole lot, but I've seen some, and I know both these teams are decently solid, and obviously both are playing for the position of getting a bye in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and just like you were saying, you might not be familiar with a couple of these, but for example, Genesect, a super sought-after player in like almost any draft that they've been in, right? They've been flexing a little bit in this league, if I'm not mistaken, able to play a couple of roles. I know them as a tank player, but I'm sure their DPS is not bad at all. Angelo Lagusa, Famas, Atrix, and Fuss, and particularly Famas, who I was never familiar with, but they've been surprising us a lot on the Sojourn, Mara. So we're gonna have Dorado as our first map, as the last week of as you want to say like groups. It's still gonna be a first to two, so it's gonna be Dorado, Busan, guaranteed, Neon Junction, and then New Queen Street should anything happen that needs us to do some tie breakers. But interesting maps. I'm expecting to dive. But other than that, can't guarantee much of how things are gonna go. The bans are in though, and looks like we really don't want to play dive actually with these bans.
Yeah, neither of these teams really want to play dive with these bands. Obviously, Winston and Break, both very strong dive heroes. But also with Busan, I know this is Dorado, so I mean, you can still play probably like a Mizuki or a Kiriko, like Lucio, something like that, or honestly, Kirimiz. Like both backlines can still be very strong on this map, even without Brig being able to reinforce it from flankers and stuff like that. But the Winston band's a little more surprising because Winston's not particularly strong right now, I don't think, anyways. At least from my experience.
Yeah, I mean, Winston, I think we've seen them a good bit. A lot of teams also kind of have like this split where like they might not want to play Winston too often and they just prefer the D.Va, for example. A little bit easier to pilot, able to counteract a Winston or like a Hazard who have been on a tear. And I mean, D.Va being able to one-shot is always better than having the tickle cannon that you have on Winston. Regardless, very traditional dive comms, I would say. Phantom Verdict, I'm expecting that the Mercy is just a little bit like a spawn trolling moment, trolling for the casters. Shout out to production, by the way, who we did see at the beginning. But yeah, excited to see how this one goes. Doors open, and yeah, we're just playing some honest dive, Mara.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call playing Cat Cast honest, but I mean, it kind of depends on what tickles your fancy. But like right now, it's just a very close spawn brawl. They're not really even letting Phantom Verdict take space, which is good, but they're just kind of slowing it down currently.
Yeah, taking their time, looking for the shots as well, right? On on a character like Freya. He's doing so much damage from afar, and oh my god, Famas opening us up with a beautiful pick onto Poyo. Just like you were saying, very dishonest to run Cat, but surely that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, generally dying isn't ideal, but pretty decent pick onto Turget here. They're still down quite a bit for Phantom Verdict, so it should, yeah, so obviously Snowdrop, but decently solid start for Phantom Verdict. They're making decent progress, at least, in building, slowly but surely building an ult economy, but it's still looking not amazing here.
Yeah, the only thing you're really close to is the Freya ult, which is kind of a given when you're playing Freya, right? Character with lots of ways to generate her own ult. In fact, one of the only characters with, like, if not the only, able to generate like ult in an alternative method or in a faster way. Famas gonna have 100 ult, and it's gonna be really important to generate a pick here. If you're Phantom Verdict, birding 2 minutes is not uncommon, but definitely not what you want. You want to go a little bit faster. A couple of shots landing here on the cast, burning the roll. Big Bola, does it find the target? Yes, Luca goes down, and that's the Kiriko for the side of Phantom Verdict. No more Susu, no more CP, no more of that constant healing, and it seems like Famas opening the doors wide open for Phantom Verdict to just make it through first point. Mara, I don't think Snowdrop can come back to touch.
That was a really good Bola for Famas, who already almost has another Bola, by the way. But like I think he was trying to hit target with it, but Luca rather teleported to peel, and then Luca got caught in the Bola and couldn't teleport or couldn't bell and got stuck there, so got killed really fast. And then Famas has another Bola. This is like a little LeBron performance from Famas, to be honest.
This is how you can tell that the character was made recently in 2025. Yep. Oh my god, another direct Bola. Does it kill? I don't think so. Look at that. So much damage absorbed by LCS, but that's gonna be your mechs going down. Yes, you have the bomb to try and counteract it, but it's not necessarily the best thing, right? You're still losing some resources. And if you're Famas, I think you're very happy with the way that fight went out. Turget trying to land a couple of shots to see if they can redeem themselves on this one. Seems like Snowdrop is just stabilizing, and we're back to the neutral game. But Phantom Verdict, a little bit on the back foot, trying to pop this Tsune rush from the side of Luca, trying to make something happen. And Mara, it looks like Phantom Verdict is just getting pushed out, and you cannot go into this rush without paying the price.
I think that was not a great Mizuki ult there for Gen, because like you'd rush and Mizuki at the same time and they just completely kited it. So like you lived, yes, but you also like lost 2 support ults to them for no reason. But this gigantic Xion ult deals a lot of damage, does not secure a kill though. It doesn't seem like it got too much value. Gen cut down early yet again for the side of Phantom Verdict. It's not looking great here for them. They're making a little bit of progress, but again, they're just kind of stalling out right now.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting the amount of progress that they're able to make. The cattle didn't do much, and we're lifting Turget, but I don't think you want to invest it, right? LCS already opened up a fight that is kind of unwinnable for Phantom Verdict. You're down 2 people, and there's nothing that you can do with it, Mara, but I think we know how this next fight is going to play out. Can you deal with the flying Cassidy that is going to one-shot you? This is Overwatch in the Big 26. I love that this is a mechanic, guys. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, he should be able to get at least 1 kill with this. Oh, never mind, they peeled. Oh, he's still holding it. Nah, doesn't get anything, maybe? Deals a little bit of damage. Gets hurt. Wait, never mind. I thought he dropped it, honestly. Gets Gen. That's a very good pick. But Turget's kind of stranded up there. Oh, he's getting blown up by the D.Va. Thankfully, his team peels for them. So now it's just yet again another lost fight, and it was pretty manageable with no ult loss, but they are starting to run out of time. 2 minutes down, and it pulls out from Star Potato, getting no value. Yet again, Phantom Verdict is investing very heavily in this high ground, but to no avail, as their ults are kind of just they lose to the cattle in the rush, or just the cattle rather. Actually, that's really bad.
And I don't think you can blame them. I honestly, just with Cat, there's so many things that you gotta take into account before you go in, and so many of them are like unknown to you, right? As the team pushing, so I don't think I can really blame them for things going the way that they did. Snowdrop are holding so strong though on top of this little building, and the rush comes out. Let's see if this Deadeye can do anything. Turget kind of stuck with a Vola, getting shot left, right, and there's nothing you can do except to try and get out. Those teams kind of getting jump scared.
They're flying in again, by the way.
Noon, one, two,
gets 1. Oh, gets buzzed. That's not a hugely massive pick, I'm gonna be honest. It's good, but they can still definitely win this fight with the Xian coming back fast. But with Femis dying immediately after, again, Fan Verdict is just stalling out on the second point, and they've got little to show for it, and essentially 1 ult, maybe 2. It's not looking great for Fan Verdict right now. Snowdrop is in a very strong position with strong ults coming online, like that Pulse Bomb and that Cat ult yet again.
Yeah, it feels like they're running a little bit into a wall here, right? You have like this thing where they just have a massive deep in front of my face, eating all of my damage, and the second the fight like slows down a little bit, Turget is right there to give them the hammer with Poyo's flying combo. Star Potato here on the backline trying to fish for something, but Phantom Verdict, it's almost like they're not on the map. Susu gets burned for the side of Phantom Verdict. Just this fight is so split, Mar. It's kind of hard to read it.
Star Potato is fighting for his life back there. I don't know if that's necessarily worth it. Loses his life. Damien got traded out though. Poyo hits a cat ult onto the Xion. Oh, bring it onto the high ground though.
Oh my god.
Oh, barely gets peeled for. Turget was so close to dying there. But the card is currently being progressed right now by Jen for however long that lasts. Angela Lugusa as well gets a pick. Poyo should be dead to that bolt. Just barely misses it. But
Double
still,
shots.
this should be a one fight for the side of Phantom Verdict here. Very good clutch.
LTS manages to get out for a couple of seconds, fishing for something. The goal that comes out,
So
trying
close.
to hit the cat, but yeah, it's so hard to hit Toya, especially in the middle of flight. LTS, I think they're just trying to buy time to try and get the bomb jiggle touched. Oh, Turget,
They're doing that, yeah.
Instantly. Yeah, you know exactly what
Yeah.
you're going for in that fight. The bomb comes out from the side of Phantom Verdict, and you were saying this in one fight, but I don't think so anymore. Turget maybe finds his second target here on Genesect. No more bomb, no more anything for the side of Phantom Verdict. They're burning out the resources, and you can't blame them. 3 people down. Phantom Verdict not able to secure second point.
Yeah, I mean that was a very. I thought that was almost one if they just played a little bit more aggressively and held a little bit more space going into third, because they knew they must have known they had ults by that point, because it had been a decent while since almost any of their players had used. So like it was kind of just like inevitable that they rush back to point and win with ult advantage and spawns, which they ended up doing. And they like once they had used their ults in that previous fight, they essentially had nothing. And so, like, it was going to be entirely uncontested as long as Snowdrop could get a touch, in which they did with, I believe it was LCS.
Honestly, it's just being able to have this like clutch factor, and like whenever the fight goes on long enough, Cassidy Deadeye, one of the cheaper ultimates in the game, usually kind of compensated by the fact that it's hard to get value out of it unless the other enemies like completely like in like a very messed up position. But Cat is just always making it so that Phantom Verdict's on a timer, right? The second that they generate enough ultimates, the second that they get the combo online, you have to be careful, because almost always someone is gonna go down, and you can't really blame FAMAS or Fuss for not being able to like shut them down. They move so fast, and it's a very weird movement pattern that I think you're not used to if you're a hit scan player. Regardless, making it that far does not mean that it's over yet for Phantom Verdict. Decent effort. However, we're gonna have to see if Snowdrop is able to repeat their success on defense. The Ombre though from Phantom Verdict, a little bit interesting. I would have expected them to stick to the Freya or the Cass.
Yeah, I think Emery is very strong here, but I think Emery is solid here, but I think the Freya, at least currently, in my opinion on this patch, is a little bit stronger than Emery. But like Emery does provide more consistent damage at range, which is more so what I think Phantom Verdict kind of needed, just to finish poking out like the cat and stuff like that. But it's not. I think the Freya is still ultimately a little bit stronger.
Yeah, and one of the things that we saw is that she's able to force so many situations, right? With her mobility and like cheap old FAMAS. Doesn't even let me finish talking though. Beautiful opening pick onto Luca. Delaying, not having Kiriko makes it so much harder for LCS. So some of these degen things that D.Va's able to do, right? Just fly in front of you, be in your face, eat all of your damage. Snowdrop a little bit stuck, but hopefully they're able to come back once that Luca is back on the board. They're gonna TP in. I think when you have to target the Kiriko, no way to get out. Poyo goes down from the side of Snowdrop. No more Cat, no more support from their side, and they're just slowly bleeding out. A very quick fight loss and a very good win if you want to see some signs of life from Phantom Verdict.
Yeah, I see. I see the value of the Emery there because there's a lot more consistent pressure on the Cat in the mid fight, because obviously you don't want your diva constantly feeling for the cat or constantly marking the cat. So it's a little bit more consistent. And and again, so much damage you put onto that cat. They were having to bubble Poyo to get LCS onto the high ground even. And it's still not looking amazing for Snowdrop right now. They're going in for that flying high noon though, and it's looking like they're gonna get at least one kill onto Jen here. And it does, gets one onto Jen, because its combo is not very well thought out. Target popping off right now, like actually just in the fight, flying in, killing 2 people, demacking a diva. Like that's crazy. I mean, now like
dishonest, right? There's no other way to call it but dishonest.
No, I like playing this comp. Emery ult could potentially do some serious damage here, but they cut it so well. Good pulse bump. Great bell though from Damien. From Damien Dap, but still, it's not looking amazing.
Yeah, and the beam just eating through Angelo Lagusas. There's no way for you to eat that with DM. I'm just slowly losing this fight. Zarya, the fight has been going on long enough that she has so much energy, and you just can't really compete with her, right? 2 people down from both teams though, so this could swing either way. In my opinion though, this looks like a team fight win for LCS. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Solid little start here. Fuzz trying to lose something, but yeah, that's the wrong person to dive if you're on Tracer, Fuzz.
Yeah, I also, the cat Zarya, I think secretly is pretty strong because you can go really deep with bubbles and get high charge and go into people, and that's like, I think not as strong as like Cat Cast, obviously, or Cat Bastion, but still pretty strong. This Ramatra switch as well. I don't know what the tactical value of that is here, because you lose so much advantage by being able to contest high ground at all. And obviously Winston is banned, so it makes sense that you would like get a little bit more annoyed when you're playing into the Zarya, because Zarya obviously meets your health bar, or eats your health bar, and then LCS with that grab onto the high ground, 2 kills with it.
Way to call it, yeah. Famaz and Genesec caught off guard. We don't really need any characters that fly to be able to get on this high ground and just contest them directly. LCS 0 fear in their heart as they go for that play. Star Potato chipping them down. Angelo Lagusa, just like you said, under a Matra,
this is over.
Doubting the pick a little bit and just trying to survive the Deadeye, but they know exactly a target that they want. A one-shot might be impending incoming for the side of Snowdrop, but I don't think so. The Deadeye comes and goes without any value, trying to kidnap the Ramatra to get them off point. There's no other way to contest without bleeding out an LCS on this Zarya. Just so much value. Look at this, the alright comes out, but at the end of the day, the map goes to Snowdrop, and honestly, it never felt like they left the driver's seat.
Yeah, they definitely had control of the map after they lost the first point. But this play from Femis, I believe on first, yeah, this is how they got first. This is a great play from Femis that really cracked up the map and gave them the chance to at least get onto second and potentially have a little bit more time to play on that defense. But it was pretty much like you said, Snowdrop was kind of just in control for most of the map, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Honestly, it really felt like they were completely... Like, in these fights where everything goes super long, just like we were talking a little bit about earlier, it kind of was the factor of, hey, I'm on what's it called? I'm on Cat Cass. I'm able to generate my resources super quickly because the only thing I have to shoot is a tank. And eventually I'm gonna get my Deadeye, and even if I'm not killing anyone in the mid fight, I at the end of it, it's just like, hey, I get 2 one-shots. I get one shot, and it swings the fight so hard in the favor of Snowdrop that I feel like you have to come up with something to counterplay it directly. Like, you're not playing a bad comp. It's just you either have to win really fast, or Turget needs to be there 99% of the time before the fight goes long enough for him to get their Deadeye, right? But it's easier said than done. Dorado, a very tough map. And honestly, the Ramatra pick at the end, feeling like a little bit more like a desperation thing, rather than something organized. I mean, they also are on Zarya, and you're getting mauled alive on D.Va, so I guess it's not, again, a very tough situation, and I'm very happy that I'm on this side on the screen, and not on the map, because I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah, I mean, I think like switching to something like that lives a little bit better in the overtime is not a horrible idea in a situation like that. Like Ram will live for a decently long time. especially into his Zarya because he has the armor stacking with the, I believe the armor will stack with the Ram block, but I might be mistaken. But like just something to brawl a little bit more with Zarya makes sense, but also like the Zarya has a lot of her value already, like that she has because you lost the fight. So like if she keeps playing into you, you're not gonna be able to stage on her long enough because she's just gonna fly into you with the cat. Like it's kind of a lose-lose situation where if you go back on Ram there. Looking at the bans, of course, that cat is banned from Phantom Verdict, which makes sense. We are on actually we're up Busan. This isn't an insanely strong cat like or a map that really lends itself to the cat comp necessarily, is my understanding.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see why they banned it here because I mean obviously they could still force it. I don't particularly know what the team really likes to play, but I would understand it from the perspective of they don't want to play in a cat cast, which is kind of mostly why they lost last map, to be honest.
I mean, another thing is like we're like in the rule set where it's versus 2, right? So while I understand, hey, this is not the best cat map, you also don't want to lose to it like instantly. You know what I mean? Like if they bring it out and you don't deal with it like perfectly, you're gonna lose this map and you're gonna lose the set, and there goes your bye, right? So I don't blame them for banning cat, even if it's not the most optimal map. The Ram ban, they showed it at the end. And I guess I understand, particularly if you're looking, for example, to protect the Zarya, which LCS, I think it was LCS, yeah, seems very interested in just representing the character as an option for the side of Snowdrop. And a protection ban is never bad, particularly in a map that is so brawly like Busan, right? Lots of ways to play it. You can play dive, you can play your brawl, but at the end of the day, you need to deal with the things that you already know how to play, and you need to deal with this cat because it was a big issue to deal with during Dorado. Regardless, Mara, we're going into Busan. A reminder: should Snowdrop win this map, they're gonna confirm the set and guarantee themselves a bye during playoffs week, which is not a small feat, not at all.
Yeah, I will say it wasn't really a protection ban as much as they obviously didn't want to play in the Ram there because they banned second because they won the map. But yeah, going to this map, this map really is just like pick your poison for what you want to play, except kind of a mecha base where dive isn't particularly viable just because how the map is actually like the geography of the map. But like this control lends a lot of creativity for comps and for preferences of comps.
No, absolutely, and lots of things that you can come up with on the fly to counterpick someone, lots of ways to approach different situations on the map. It does seem like we're kind of stuck on the NA type comp. I'm a little bit surprised by the Sigma. I don't mind it. I feel like it kind of hinders your mobility, but regardless, let's see if Angel Legusa is able to make it work, particularly into Zarya, who does a lot of damage in the 1-to-1 matchup. A little bit scary. Regardless, Turget looking for a couple of shots, getting some big damage in. Snowdrop looking a little bit at the back foot, burning both of their bubbles without much to show for it. And Mara, it seems like the point is going to the side of Phantom Verdict.
Yeah, Sigma is really strong in the brawl right now, especially into the Zarya because he can deal so much damage and stun her and stuff like that, and like he can break her bubbles pretty easly. As well as like he survives very well, and he deals a lot of damage. He's very strong. It makes sense, but like the rest of the comp, I mean, this is just a Sigma brawl comp. I mean, they're basically mirroring because the Zarya wants to play faster to this, but they're not playing well enough with the Zarya currently, or with the Zarya Xion, because Zarya Xion's a little bit on the weak side in my opinion, anyways. But they're just not taking. They have not yet gotten the value of the comp that they want, which is to get past Sigma and fight really fast into his backline. Because they don't have the speed perk as well, but
yeah, trying to bring the fight to them, which is I think exactly what they're trying to do now, at least on the side of Phantom Verdict. In fact, they are the ones playing fast. The Flux is gonna go. It's gonna be a little bit of a slam, but nothing to really get other than a little bit of HP on their side. Angelo Legusa finds the kill onto Turget. That is nothing small, but the fight still a little bit hard to read. LCS just walking into you. The TP is gonna come out and keep them safe. No more bubbles for their side. Very tough. It's a very hard fight, but like you were saying, the moment that Zarya is able to run past the Sigma, which is what should be happening a lot of the time, it feels like there's nothing Phantom Verdict can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, Sigma can't survive in that matchup to some degree. But like obviously Zarya has a lot more sustained damage over time that you really can't block with Sigma's grasp. Oh, and the grab out as well.
Oh my god.
Gets Belled, has the grab though, barely lives. Gets the Mizzou kill, has to live. There's a lot of resources being used by Phantom Verdict, using that overclock as well on the left side high ground. Turgut though getting more value with his overclock, getting 2.
Double pick. A siren helping them out with the third confirm onto Angelo Lagusa, and the fight goes to Snowdrop, just like we keep talking about. It feels like the second aggression really you need to control the map very hard if you're Phantom Verdict. Like, look at every sideline, not let anyone in. But again, you're playing into Xion, you're playing into Sojourn, who like arranges, well, doesn't arrange anyone in particular, but still able to do lots of damage. And if you're LCS, yes, you have the bubbles, but that is momentary protection, right? Not constant survivability. Like,
Kairos
like
though.
Sigma.
Kairos,
oh my god, the
absolutely
triple!
mauling them. The Tiger of Kanazaka. I don't know if that's like her title, but like it sounds cool, I guess. And her pistols have tigers on them.
I do not know the
I don't
title.
know. I don't either, but it's cool. Anyways, a lot of value from that Suzuki spree. I believe that had the old title. And there's still a lot of value. The bike's being thrown in yet again. This young character does so much damage from range with that bike. A lot of pressure being put onto Kairos though. Kairos kind of right now. Off-friendly into a little bit too hard. Turgut though on the high ground getting a kill on a Damien Dap. Both supports falling for the side of Phantom Verdict, and it looks like Snowdrop is going to be holding this point and setting up to end the round here. But Angelo Gusa coming back with Sigma potentially. They're getting on Lucio to speed him back too.
Yeah, trying to get a little bit of a touch, 97, 98, and it seems like they are here to fight the point. In fact, they believe in this, and there's nothing else you can do other than do double rush gonna come out. But again, in these kind of frantic situations where you're not able to set your space, Snowdrop is gonna come out as the king of both comps. Double pick, triple pick, confirming the point that I'm sorry, Mara, but I don't see a world where they're able to come back from this. Everyone is dead. And Snowdrop 1 point away. Wow, so close to just closing out this set.
Yeah. Like with the Sigma, they needed to get it in as fast as they could onto the Zarya so they couldn't get the grab. But they couldn't kill her fast enough, and the fight lasted. They couldn't kill her fast enough, and the fight lasted long enough to where she got a lot of value. She got a grab. She killed Angelo Lagusa. It was a lot of value that the Zarya provided there by just living long enough to get to use her charge on her grab. Phantom Verdicts keeping the same comp, but crucially, Snowdrop will be pretty significantly faster to mid already with that Sim TP. LCS taking so much space in the Zarya, already progressing up to the Mega. A lot of space being taken, and again, Snowdrop already has control of most of the point, and they're just waiting for that point to unlock.
Going so much faster, right? The Juno is helping them out for sure. Misuki, something with the major buff, maybe they can do something like that, but nothing can really contest the ring. A comp that is faster, but you do have a lot of poke if you're Phantom Verdict, and lots of ways to drain their resources where the fight really breaks out. Famas landing a couple of shots, finishing off Kairos, putting them down. And again, it's something we're talking about. The range fight is going to be very important in this match. A couple of shots, some going wide, some finding their target, but it seems like Phantom Verdict is in the lead this fight, Mara.
Yeah, Phantom Verdict was another good pick
shot.
Getting initial control at this point is lasting like a very long here.
And
they
so
have
energy, right? For the fight of LCS. Slowly,
yeah, Phantom Verdict winning this fight. Oh, okay. So initial control is kept for about 9%, which is like 4 or 5 seconds, I think, something like that, with how fast it progresses. But right now, it's like Phantom Verdict have what they need, which is a lot of control of the map and angles. But they need to maintain that because already Snowdrop's on the prowl, LCS is on the prowl, getting all those resources, mainly the speed ring, and I believe the speed Suzu as well. A lot of value for the Zarya, but they're just kind of walking into point, and they're currently living perfectly fine and holding a lot of space right now. Oh, great rock!
Beautiful rock, finding a good target in LCS, beating down your tank. feels always a little bit like a death sentence in Overwatch 2. Kairos goes down, and honestly, nothing you can really do about this. Like, there's no way you can come back after 2 people down, especially from us getting the 3rd one. Good job here from the side of Phantom Verdict, but LCS coming back instantly, trying to find a little bit of a pick onto Famas, popping the Deadeye, keeping the entire team safe during grab. And that is a really good trade, right? You're gonna give a Deadeye for a grab any day of the week. It's just gonna find the Kiriko and the Zarya. Really good grab from Angelo Lagusa. LCS choosing to protect the support rather than themselves. The Susu is gonna keep them safe though, and it seems like they're running out of gas slowly. No more shield. The Rock is still online, but no more hands. Famas being faced with a 100 energy Zarya is not what you want to see. And Snowdrop, Mara, I don't think I can state what a wonderful job they did at stabilizing after a messy fight.
Yeah, I mean, they kited the support ults really well after they grabbed. They realized, well, I don't think we can really kill them in a grab when they're in a Mizuki ult in a Kiriko rush, and they just like smartly kited away, and then won the fight by just strangling them slowly over time with the Zarya, with her overwhelming pressure. And the Suzuki spree again gets 1 solid pick, gets 3.
Beautiful,
great
ult, and the fight is
Kairos.
over so quickly.
Rapid fight win as well, yeah. And with the flux being used there, it's not a lot of time here right now for the side of Snowdrop, or for the side of Phantom Verdict rather. Snowdrop is building a very strong ult economy here, which is going to be very important in maintaining this lead and potentially winning this map.
Yeah, not the end of the world just yet for the side of Phantom Verdict. You have a very comfortable touch, but if you lose this fight from the way things are looking, it might just be over. Not a lot you can do about it other than try and lock in for this one. Fuzz does have the rush, and not many ways to counteract it if you're on the side of Snowdrop. So let's try and make something happen. What a grab! Shutting down
map,
any idea they might have had to win that fight.
That might be the series as well. I don't think that it's possible for Phantom Verdict to come back in the situation. They're gonna have one more touch here with the Tracer, with the Shiana, with the Lucio, but they're they're flooding into one angle, into a fully charged Zarya and a Sojourn with high ground control. It's gonna be very hard. Gen ult being used on the low ground, getting decent damage, but not gonna secure any kills. And Fuzz dies.
LCS shutting down the Flex DPS from us though. So a little bit of a comeback kill onto a Siren, both two apiece for both teams. Angelo Lagusa still alive, on point, trying to keep themselves alive in fact, but against this beam, not a lot you can do except try and eat as much damage as you can. LCS finds the tank, and I'm sorry to say, but it looks like Snowdrop. They just want to go to bed, man. They just want to confirm the game, go to sleep, and be done with it. Because they win 2-0 over Phantom Verdict.
Sorry. Yeah, that was kind of a rapid win for Snowdrop there, and obviously they did want to get a bad idea too. I woke up at 6 a.m. today. But Kairos on this Xion, especially this map, was a game changer a lot of the time, with some very good ults, like this one on the first round. Very comfortable win for Snowdrop there. They never really looked like they were particularly being outmatched by Phantom Verdict, other than after they had made a really solid play on Dorado first. But very strong game from the side of Snowdrop going into playoffs, thankfully getting their bye, which means that they have they're at least good into round 2. And I believe in the losers bracket, if we have one, I kind of don't remember. I'm gonna be honest, I've not played the BPL playoffs in very long.
Just looking at this performance, like from Snowdrop, you can tell that they definitely deserve to get a bye, right? They were just so effective, and just like we were saying it a little bit earlier, right? It felt like they never really left the driver's seat when it came to like offense, right? They were always in the face of Phantom Verdict, never really leaving them alone. And honestly, I think it might have been a little bit of a mistake to go for the Catman. I understand it was quite oppressive during Dorado, but that Zarya, like it really showed that it was like the final boss to deal with during a lot of those situations. A lot of those fights, it's just like, hey, we're winning slowly but surely, and then oh, Zarya's in my face, she has 100 energy, I guess we lose, and they just lose the fight.
Yeah,
Snowdrop looking so good.
Yeah, LCS playing monstrously in that Zarya there. Very good performance from LCS. And excuse me. I really liked how they played that. because they recognized when they were on that Sigma, especially, that they just wanted to slowly but surely take control, take map space, like bleed resources, blow up the Zarya, but like they just played way too fast. Out, way too fast for that Sigma really to set up and get value there, and
Yeah.
like that Zarya kind of just like mauls you over if you are playing too slow and not winning fights decisively and fast, and they obviously weren't.
And that is one of the things we were talking about, right? The lack of time to really get your game set up, and you need a lot of time on a Sigma comp. But we can move on to what follows after this series with the league standings. If I'm not mistaken, almost finalized, since we are on Friday, and tomorrow, alongside Sunday, we have a lot of games incoming. Regardless, as just like we were saying, Snowdrop securing their bye week, looking very strong. Not quite like Odin, who are undefeated just so far. They have one more game this weekend, and we also saw it earlier. The bracket is in the making. After this weekend, we will have it finalized, and we will know what our playoffs are going to be looking like. But Mara, honestly, if that is your third seed, this is going to be a very stacked A-League bracket at the end, that's for sure.
Yeah, Black Crown as well, actually losing less maps than Odin, which I mean, I don't really know like how to gauge the strengths of the groups between each other, but like 2-0ing one more time, kind of gives a little more of an advantage. But we will see if those records end up staying perfect with both Black Crown and Odin playing for the last match of the season, or of the regular season for them, versus Zuriel and Amateur. And then after, we have the B League brawl of Hidden King versus Flying Blowhigh, I think is how you pronounce it.
Blahajar? I know it's Blahaj.
It's Blowhigh. In Swedish, it's not pronounced like Haj.
Oh yeah.
It's like Blowhigh. I don't know.
I'm Mexican.
Whatever.
I am not equipped for these phonetics. I am not equipped for
No, I'm not either. I'm American. Hell yeah, brother.
That's very tough to read. Regardless, yes, those are going to be your 3 games tomorrow. There might be some others off stream. I'm not too sure. Some games are not streamed, so be sure to check those out. If
definitely. These definitely would just be the main games played tomorrow, but there definitely are more because we had to end the rest of the regular season in every single division.
Another thing I'm being told for those following, Archmother, I'm pretty sure in A-League, they need to 2-0 Odin whenever they play. I don't know if it's tomorrow or Sunday. One of the two.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, if they don't, they end up dropping out. So if you're an Archmother supporter, you have to be there. You have to help them out. We don't want to see them because so far they've had a very, very unfortunate series, and it's probably gonna be the hardest game of the season to win compared to the rest. But Mara, that was a very good game we saw today. Very fast. Very, very fast.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Fan and Verdict kind of got like kicked out of a window, I'm gonna be honest. That wasn't particularly close, I would say. I mean, Dorado was a little bit more competitive, but it was a 2-0 and control, and they were relatively close like sub maps, but still Snowdrop pretty comfortably, I'd say, won this series and are headed to the 3rd seed position in the A-League bracket and past the first round.
Well, sometimes you're not in your element. It might have not been the closest game, but that doesn't mean they're a bad team. And bad games happen, and upsets always happen, especially in a community league. But Mara, I'm pretty sure that is going to be it for the day. It's pretty late. I'm happy we got a couple of games in. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, production, for making this happen, staying up late. Thank you to the players for giving us a little bit of a show. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And I'm pretty sure we will see you all tomorrow. We have a lot of games Sunday as well. So be excited. We will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.